Well, the news coming out of the Isle of Man this morning, this is to do with Crogga and, of course, the gas situation. The CEO, Richard, is joining us. Richard Hubbard, wanted to share with us the news. It's quite substantial news as far as you're concerned as a company.
Yes, it is. Since we spoke a couple of months ago, we've been hard at work here, and we've got two bits of news to report. Firstly, that we have appointed a contract operator, Fraser Well Management. They're based in Great Yarmouth, and they're part of the Energy 360 group. And that's a really big step for us because we now have the physical capability to drill our Independence well later this year. So I'm very, very pleased to have Fraser Well Management on board. They now need to go through the approval process, which they will start this coming week here in the Isle of Man. And they will help us with everything to do with preparing the permitting on the well and, of course, the drilling of the well. And it will be serviced from Heysham for the goods and materials and from Blackpool for the crew changes. So that's great. We think we can get drilling by October, and 3 months should see us through to results. By which time...
a major piece of information because obviously there's a massive amount of money now required to make this move on, isn't it?
Indeed, yes. And so Monday, the 16th of January, we are launching our share offer for Isle of Man residents here on the island. We need a total of £32.5 million to get this Independence well drilled. And yes, we are speaking with a variety of institutional investors, but you'll know, as we've said all along, that it's always been our wish and intent to allow residents of the Isle of Man to participate. So this morning, Monday morning, we have launched that process, and anybody wishing to investigate further can log on to the Crogga website, crogga.com, and there in the header are some instructions as to how to register for our offering memorandum of what we call the Independence Well Raise, IWR offering memorandum. You'll see it there at the top of the website. Please click on it, and we'll send you the offer memorandum document, which is a very full description with a lot of supporting information as well. And the offer will be open for 6 weeks, closing Friday the 24th of February. And we're very much hoping to see a healthy participation from residents here on the island, alongside the institutional investors that we're also speaking with.
And I suppose I should give it a health warning here, because this is potentially a risky business, because no one knows exactly what we're going to find, or you're going to find, and people should be aware of that.
Yes, without doubt, it is a risky business. So we do have on the very first page a warning in red, which I know you're not going to read on the screen here, but we encourage you to read it. It says that drilling wells in the oil and gas business is indeed a risky business, and they can fail for all kinds of reasons. So much as we like this project and we want it to succeed, and I'll speak about that in a minute, it is really, really important that everybody understands that you should really only invest in this if you are in the privileged position of being able to afford to lose your investment.
But because it's risky, there's potential for massive profit if all goes to plan, I guess.
There is indeed. So just to give you a few numbers, without making it sound a little too complicated, we are selling shares in Crogga Limited at £65 a share. And our minimum size of investment is 200 shares, which comes to £13,000. So I appreciate that's quite a sum of money. And that would be the size of the investment today. If the well is successful, if the value of those shares would increase from 65 to something like 200. If we then go on to full field development and everything looks good and we're ready for first production by 2026, then we'd be selling natural gas from the Isle of Man Crogga gas field. those shares could be worth £1,000. So I just repeat those numbers. They sound a little bit big, but that is the multiplier. We're selling them today for 65. If the first well is successful, the valuation of the asset would peg the shares at about £200. If we then go on to drill the 12 wells required to drain the field and sell the gas for full field development, the value of the shares would be more like 1,000. So it is a genuine times 10 investment.
Sorry, are you confident you're going to get those amounts, the investor numbers in that you need?
Of course not. But that is our best estimate. And we have taken our numbers on the size of the potential gas reserves from the BP relinquishment report back in 1996. So it is based on solid technical work.
You're going for Isle of Man investors first, but you're presumably open to anybody to put money in.
Okay, so the share offer is specific for Isle of Man residents. We've said from the beginning that we would like to make this opportunity available, and so here it is. We are not soliciting the small investments from people outside the island, but of course we are speaking with institutional investors all over the world.
Now, we've got these graphics which show exactly where we're now talking about for this gas field. Basically,
Yes.
we're talking about the Mackled area, and the obvious questions we've asked you before now is the impact it's going to have on people in these areas in the future.
Okay, yeah, so the Crogga gas field, at least as far as people know today, is the only known gas field to lie within Manx territorial waters. And as such, it's an asset of the island, belongs to the state and the people of the island, and it's located about 10 kilometres offshore. And it extends in its entirety from the latitude of Mackled Head down to somewhere approximating the harbour in Laxey Bay. And it covers a total area of 83 square kilometres. So it's quite a large area of the seabed under which the gas field might be ready to develop. But in terms of impact, which I think is your question, very little, because we will develop it as a so-called subsea completion. So once the original drilling rigs have moved on and left, there will be nothing visible at all. And you will recall that we spoke last time about what best to do by way of tying that gas field back to processing facilities. And the most cost-effective option is to tie it back through the North Moulton Bay field in the offshore to the onshore gas processing plant in Barrow in Furness. So I don't think that it will touch the island at all.
So,
even though, of course,
yeah, I mean, so you mentioned it being serviced in Blackpool and that sort of thing in the UK. So does that mean there will be any wealth being generated into the island from this phase of the operation?
Entirely so, and I need to just explain that in some detail. So, given that the field belongs to the Isle of Man, and the production is therefore within Manx territorial waters, the sale of gas is at the well head. So yes, it's entirely Manx natural gas. Now, we have put quite a bit of effort into attempting to value the Crogga gas field at current gas prices. And based upon the current prices, and this is a big number, the field is worth something like £12 billion. It's an awful lot of money. Just less than half of that will be collected by the Isle of Man government by way of royalties and the VAT, and the rest of it is the profit share for the Crogga shareholders. So it's an incredibly valuable asset that will completely change the economy of the island.
So once you've done the testing and the drilling and that sort of thing, how long will it be before you know what you've got and therefore being able to move to the next phase of the operation to actually extract it if you've got the right amount of gas under there?
Yes. So if we're able to start the well, we call it to spud the well, to start drilling the well in October this year, 2023. we'll have the full results by this time, early 2024. So it's very quick. We would then immediately turn to the process that's known as full field development, which would require shooting an area-wide 3D seismic survey so that we can map exactly the extent of the field. And then based on our estimates as we best know them today, we would need to drill 12 wells to fully drain the field and lay a pipeline from the field to the North Morecambe platform offshore. It's then hooked into the onshore processing plant. So our target for first commercial gas production is the end of 2026.
So after this announcement today, what is the next step? What other announcements are you likely to be making over the months ahead?
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for asking. The key step, clearly, once we have the funding into Crogga Limited, is to contract the actual drilling rig. And we are already starting to investigate that market. And it's likely that the drilling rig will today be in the southern North Sea. And when we're ready to use it, it will be mobilized and towed around Land's End from the southern North Sea up into the East Irish Sea. And that is, of course, the time at which the project becomes completely real, because we will have a drilling rig on its way here to the Crogga gas field.
And to finish with, I mean, it's an unfair question, really, because obviously you're very confident that things are going to work out. You're investing yourself, I'm sure. This time next year, you could be a very happy man, right?
Well, yes, of course, it's not without its risk, but it's really, really worth doing. And it will be a game changer for the Isle of Man, both the Crogga shareholders and the island economy itself.